Once upon a time, on a rainy day in our cozy home in Minton Street off Clough Road, my brother and co-producer Ahmet said, "You gotta meet Dan Mawer." Said, if I was serious about highlighting the pioneers of Hull's creative scene, especially the legendary Polar Bear, Dan was the man to talk to. So I reached out, and one Tuesday night we met at Polar Bear. It was one of those real deal moments. Just me, Dan, Rose Baker, and Mark Page. Sharpening up about Hull's music scene, the culture, the energy, and of course, this show right here, Fireside with Lance. I told him I wanted to spotlight folks who built the backbone of Hull's sound. And Dan, he was all in. Because that's who he is, a builder, a connector, one of the creative minds behind Humber Street Sesh, and a driving force in Hull's music scene. From programming lineups to nurturing new talent, Dan's been doing the work long before it was trending. So tonight, we bring that spirit to Fireside. Let's hear it from Dan Mawer. Yeah, man, that's just...
That was great. My dad rang me like 10 times, and I was like, this has to be an emergency. And then it was just the best surprise ever. Just a selfie with you and my dad. It was the nicest morning ever. Yeah, I really appreciated that. It was lovely.
Yeah, no.
It was like I just met this really, really nice guy. So
yeah, I was like, he's gonna be on my show. He's gonna. Yeah, so yeah, that was really that was a nice, pleasant surprise, honestly. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about like you and your journey, and tell us about Hull and how the music scene was for you coming up.
Wow. Okay, so I am old now. So I'm 34. So I started when I was 18, and I went and visited the Linnet and Lark, which is the Bowery now, which is a street away from Polar Bear, where I've been for a decade. So at the age of 18, I went and met this guy called Mark, who put live music on. He'd been doing it since 2002.
Is this Mark Page?
Mark Page,
okay, yeah.
So I've met this guy, and he put original live music on every week at the Linnet and Lark. And I really wanted to get into playing music. I'd only just picked up a guitar the year previous. And he was just a really nice guy, and everything that he was saying on the mic, he was introducing all the bands, and it felt like a world that I really wanted to be involved in. And the whole atmosphere was just really warm, and somewhere where I felt like I could belong and be part of. And that's how it started, was just going to the Sesh at Linnet and Lark pretty much every single Tuesday, bugging him, watching live music, learning, ended up playing. The first week of January was when I played. Imagine, he must have been like, oh God, I can't find anyone.
Just solo? You by yourself?
No, it was like a little band at that time.
Okay.
And I absolutely loved it. And then that grew. And then once we were near the end of Linnet and Lark days, I started booking a couple of gigs, a couple of bands in myself. He'd let me do that, and then we moved to Polar Bear. When we moved to Polar Bear, I took over the booking basically, and that was over 10 years ago now. So pretty long time of doing live music and working within live music, and from there everything. It's a bit like he's Del Boy and I'm Rodney. That's always how I feel. Like we're always finding new ways of putting original live music in front of an audience. So we put stuff on at the rugby, at the football at Hull City. We've done ferry cruises, put bands on, which is great. I would never go on those because I'm not great at
seasick.
It turns out neither were the fruit. With like the bassist playing, I think he was playing next to the toilet, bass guitar lead running to the stage because he was so poorly mid. So we've been in a load of circumstances together, and the biggest one is Humber Street Sesh. So from the weekly night, there was a 10-year anniversary. Mark wanted to put on a festival that celebrated all of the original talent at that time, and that was 13 years ago. Wow. So that was built off putting a free entry event on hoping that 1,000 would turn up.
Yeah.
9,000 turned up.
Yeah.
Did it again the next year. 40,000 people turned up.
Keep evolving.
And then suddenly you have to pay for road closures. You have to do it properly, and then it's sort of been through loads of amalgamations to where we are, year 13.
Yeah.
18,000 capacity festival on Saturday the 2nd of August. So that's my journey. That's pretty much it. Playing in bands alongside all of that madness, really.
Tell me about that. Old Phantom. Talk to me about your sort of glory days of doing the band stuff. What was that like?
Yeah, I've been in loads of bands. So,
Yeah.
this one's the nicest because it's everybody in this band works at Polar Bear. So when you've had a bad day, everyone feels that same energy of should we just smash some instruments and yeah, nobody can get away with being like, I'm busy that day, because it's like, well, you're not, because we all work in the same venue. So what do you mean? But everyone understands it as well. They understand how difficult it is everyone gets when we book a band from Brighton for, £100, and they're definitely not making money on this trip. Yeah. So we understand. We try to treat them with as much respect and try and make sure that they have the best show possible. Mm-hmm. When we go, we have their band head on of, we really hope this venue has a good night's worth of partaking. Yeah. So we wear the guilt on both shoulders. When we're a band, we're like, I hope it's busy enough so that everyone breaks even and it's a good night. So So at this point, that's it's just a full on love affair with music when you've been doing it as long as I have.
That's good, man. And like about your sort of, you mentioned the venues that you host and how like a lot of people gravitate towards that, and I reckon a lot of local artists. I've come across what you've been doing recently and The Great Escape. Can you tell me about that and how you sort of aided people sort of building their career?
I'd love to say it was all me. It was nothing really to do with me. So it was Hull City Council. And I can give Mark a fair amount of credit for that as well, because Mark was basically volunteering his time to send over lists to The Great Escape. So The Great Escape is a festival in Brighton. Happens in second week of May or third. It's either second or third week of May, and it's basically emerging music from across the world. Mainly England, but they have like Canada, they have Australia, so they put these showcase events on. And it was sort of Hull City Council's credit to them for thinking, Hull needs a presence. More of a presence. There's definitely some great freelance events that happen with Hull people, as there always is. You'll find a Hull person. But it was just having a more condensed idea. And credit to Hull City Council, because they decided, look, should we take a venue on? Should we work with the festival? And Mark this year was just the go-between, and I was just watching a very stressed man try to work out the ins and outs and get some, maybe we need flyers there. Maybe there should be a banner.
Now, I want to talk about something. The reform movement. Now, we just got a new mayor in Hull, right? Was it Luke Campbell, right? Good-looking 37-year-old chap, boxer, cool, right? It's funny because he had a sprinkler problem, right? Like, he vowed to get that problem fixed. And when he became mayor, what did he do? He fixed the sprinklers. So look at that. The reform movement. Fixing the nation one sprinkler at a time. Because we don't got any other problems, right? Reform UK specifically. Quite murky for people of color. I mean, Nigel Farage is the party leader, right? So it's a big problem. I mean, we see it in my country as well with the Trump admin. They're anti-immigration, even though we're a nation of immigrants. But the hypocrisy is real. It's troubling that more and more of the party members are gaining more influences because of the message that they send. It is clearly racist, they're being anti-immigration, but we know who they're focused towards. We know who they dislike or distrust. And it is people of color that's getting targeted. I mean, look what happened last summer with the riots, taking back your country, one Greg's at a time. Now, with all that being said, not everybody in this country are reformers, right? They're not. People here are genuinely nice. Like, people of Hull are genuinely nice. Most of them are. Let me tell you about my first week in Hull. I was wandering around, had nothing to do, got on the bus, all right? And I'm talking to the bus driver because I have to tell the bus driver where I need to go next. And this one gentleman heard my accent and started chatting me up, right? And he's telling me about all his favorite places to go in Hull, like Spoons, specifically the Three John Scotts, which is funny because under that same breath, he invites me to his 50th birthday party. And I'm just like, sure, I'll go drinking with a bunch of middle-aged white men. Man, why not? Anyway, so I get to the pub, right? And they're all friendly. They're buying me around, having a great time, having a great laugh. And then one guy says, I look like a boxer. And I knew that was my cue to leave. Or maybe I should run for mayor too. Love you, Hull. This is a platform, hopefully, to sort of get creatives to advertise what they do and, you know, come chat to me about showbiz. And I know there's a lot of challenges that comes with that. Can you tell me about, like, share some of your sort of challenges as a creative and as a sort of postman yourself?
I think the bit that's really interesting for Hull acts is I don't think they realise how much of a cultural asset they are to the city. So if someone's making, you know, I said this to the band, there's a band called Maftin, and they're new, they're really new, and they sound like New Order. That's the easiest way I can describe it. And there wasn't a band in Hull that sounded like New Order. But suddenly when you have these conversations, anybody freelance that has those conversations about Hull, and they'll go, have you got anything electronic? Or you'll go Maftin. And that's like, massive, you know, when people are trying to big up what the city's doing, how great we have it in the city, you need good Hull music to back it up. And thankfully we've got it in abundance. So that's part of it. And I think a lot of artists forget that. We're a really isolated city. So in terms of industry, there's probably 2 or 3 people who understand how it works. And getting outside of this city to go and play shows is harder than ever. Whereas I suppose you have got a bit, although there's more competition in bigger cities, there's also an understanding of who could help you. And in Hull, you could have a band, and there's been loads of instances of amazing bands. And it's great for me because I'm greedy. So I get to watch an amazing artist for 4 years be incredible and then disappear. And they were all almost like they were ours. Yeah, it's like imagine the Beatles at Cavern Club, and then they didn't go and do anything. You know, those fans would still be going and watching Paul McCartney now. You know, and still loving it. But then it wouldn't have had that reach, and that's the biggest problem that Hull artists have. I think it's really difficult to get outside the city. If you've got no links, it's the same with acting, it's the same with anything. If you don't have that link, it's really difficult to forge that for yourself, and you have to have determination to do that. So you really have to outsource what you're doing to other places in order to be a success. And that takes a lot of, you know, you're already, you know, paying for your guitars, paying for practice rooms, paying for videos to try and get it to a standard. That's without even maybe finding the audience that can help you actually make it a career. I think those are the hardest bits, and those are the bits where you have to remember what you're doing it for. And music is meant to be a really fun process where you write music with friends, or you create something authentic to you that makes you feel good. Can it be an emotional release? You get to play to friends, or you get to witness new cities. It's really hard to remember those bits when you're £6,000 down on a hobby, you know, which you'd love to be a career. And it's hard to the further you get in. I had a manager a few years ago that was like, you're in the pipe on Shawshank Redemption. And at some point,
Morgan Freeman, the narrating,
that's exactly how he said it. And once you get out the other end, it's going to be great. But right now, you're doing your job. You're still trying to manage getting down to Bognor Regis for a gig in January, and then you're still trying to get back and work the next day. But also, because I'm that old and I've done it that long.
Stop saying you're old. You're only 4 years older than me, man.
Thank you. You're a baby. So sometimes those bits, it sounds mad, but sometimes being in that, some of it's really fun. And playing to nobody and being in a situation with your mates where you end up giving some of your best shows like you think it's Wembley, and there's like one man and his dog watching you. Those are actually the better memories than some of the achievements you get along the way.
I get that. I mean, like, you know, we're talking about the struggle, but let's, I guess, talk about some pros. Like, how easy is it for someone like to sort of come to you or anybody and be like, hey, look, I want to put on a show, like at Polar Bear, like an up and coming band? Like, could they just come and chat to you and do a show on Tuesday? Or
yeah, please do. Yeah. That's the best way, because we get lots of emails, and I'd love to say it's a full-time job, but it's part-time / volunteer, depending on which toilet in the venue ain't working that week. Or so it's really like it's genuinely difficult to get round and check those emails. So if you come down to Polar Bear on a Tuesday and you want to play your first ever show, then there's like 4 or 5 different people who are there that'll talk to you and talk through the process with you. And your band might not be perfect for doing a sesh night, but there's the Adelphi, you know, and we'll go straight to saying you should go to Musicians Night at the Adelphi, because that's just a legacy in itself to play that on a Monday. Free entry, you can get yourself a pint and meet pretty much everyone immediately. Or you can come, so I guess, or if you're more heavy and it's rock orientated, we can't do that too much to our audience on a Tuesday night. We can put heavy stuff on, but we couldn't do it every week. Yeah. Because our audience are just, you know, hurt their ears too much. You know, it's novel for them once every couple of months.
Yeah. And yesterday was a treat.
Yeah, I got to see this metal band but actually there's O'Reilly's, which like caters for that. Yeah. And everyone is exactly the same in Hull. You just need to turn up. Yeah. And then everyone in there is just super nice and look after you and tell you what's the best practice to go and play a gig.
Yeah. What, like, in terms of performances and things you've seen, and of course sort of things you've helped orchestrate, what type of genres have you sort of seen like come across, like in terms of music? Like,
being in a band, I've seen loads, and that's really engaging. And sometimes I always thought to be a good band, you had to be exciting, and that was a process I had to go through. Where a band after me, that all of them just played in boxer shorts, and then a guy set off a confetti cannon on the second to last song, and during the last song, hoovered up the confetti. And I was like, I'm never going to reach this level. There's no way I can be more exciting or mad as this. So maybe I should just concentrate on songwriting. So that was like the maddest thing I've seen. And been like, you know, there's no way. You know, and there's plenty of young people that'll like climb the rafters, and like I ain't doing that. But I will concentrate on a song and try. So that's something that's really engaging to me, is watching different artists and where they find their energy. So, and sometimes what the situation depends upon. There's quite a lot of artists that'll be like, I can't hear you, and it's like, because there's only 10 people in here. Just give them like, I'm happy they're here at all. It's like give them a reprieve. But from genre perspective, there's loads within the city. I'd love to say that we had more R&B and soul within Hull. And that's, again, when I say a cultural asset, if one R&B artist leaves Hull, it's like that's like a whole genre has just disappeared out of the city. Yeah. So if you end up doing something that's lo-fi or something that caters for that, like, you just don't realise how important that is to us and our cultural outreach. And even if we want to bring something that's contemporary into the city, you need something within the city to help back that up, or there has to be a foundation for it. Exactly. So we've got like a country artist called Todd DeWitt, and he's playing Polar Bear in a couple of weeks. Okay. And immediately you go, well, Tony Beacock from Hull is a perfect country artist. This is going to work great. Yeah. And then I've worked with Tony on the show because he understands country far better than I do. And that makes it fun as well, because then I can go, how do we make this the best show with someone that really is listening to country every day? So yeah, there's loads of good stuff. But yeah, it is like, I can't explain the importance of Hull acts and what, you know, and just showing up and being part of that. And if you are doing something different, how immediately important you are to us as a city.
Well, I mean, I see that, like, there's also a surge in sort of creating new artists. I mean, I wasn't in the age category, but I know that y'all do sort of like music lessons for the youth. I thought that was so cool. Like was that, whose idea was that? Like,
you're so good at this, aren't you? Yeah, we do a music lab. I completely forgot that. I keep having to shout about that.
I do my research, man.
God, you're good. Yes, music lab on a Monday. Yeah. So that's actually Goodwin Development Trust. So that's working with a local charity. and they put. The idea is they give us a load of equipment, amps, guitars, bongos. For the more inclined for bongos, and they just put it on the stage and say anybody that wants to turn up, come and play as part of an ensemble. And honestly, we've had some really good, exciting artists come through Music Lab because they just turn up and they've got a few chords or a song structure, and then they build something. And it doesn't have to be amazing. You know, that's not really the premise. Isn't for it to be like an amazing band by the end of the session. Yeah. The idea is, can you get good at a new instrument, or being, you know, if it's your first time trying something that there's a if you're not a musician, sometimes you'll navigate to something on an instrument that a musician would never even think of, and then you get as a collaboration to go, actually that's really exciting, we'll just build it on that, and that can be quite rewarding for I guess young people and me as an audience member to be like, oh wow, he's just come up with that. And it was a struggle to even get him on stage. So yeah, that's every Monday and it's free. It's 6 till 8. It's been running for a year and a half. I'm hoping we've got it till the end of the year, so I'm really excited about that. And like I say, even if you end up not being a performer or a musician, a couple of our DJs at the Polar Bear came through Music Lab and just had a nice chat with us, and it was like, oh, actually, like your music taste is great, but you're never going to pick up a guitar again. I can see it in you, so maybe we have you as a DJ instead. So it's just a good meeting place, really. Yeah, it builds community. It's perfect because a lot of them come to Music Lab and then they'll go to Musicians Night at Adelphi after. They'll either perform or they'll go as a group, and that's really exciting to watch because you can then, you know, you can see sometimes they're like dialing in something to help the group, and then they'll go do their actual thing at Adelphi, and you go, oh, okay, I can see what you're really into. You know? This is what you're really about. So it's cool.
That's cool, man. So, you know, we're in summertime now. Tell us about the up and coming Humber Sesh. Like,
gosh, yes, year 13. Really excited about it. August the 2nd, and it's a celebration not only of Hull but of emerging music. So the idea, in principle, years ago was to do original music from Hull, and then over time we've just engaged more with the bands that will come and be brave enough to play Hull on a Tuesday night. They'll be part of the festival as well. So this year we've got a band called Divorce who are currently, you know, they're playing Glastonbury. They're currently touring with Mumford & Sons in America, and then we drag them back and say, do you remember playing Tuesdays and all? Well, can you play our festival? And that's like, so yeah, I absolutely love that as a concept. And we've got the Hal and the Hum as well, who are an artist that are from York, and again would have played Polar Bear when it was much more like a pub than a music venue, where you're like carting stuff through an old men's pub where someone's going, what do you sound like tonight then? And they had to like grow thick skins, and they're headlining in Humber Street Sesh this year. So it's a mixed, it's more of a mixed bill now. It's about providing platforms for those that we think deserve it from across the country. So there's a lot of artists that people won't know, and that's honestly the premise.
That's the goal.
Because hopefully they'll have an amazing career. Maybe you will never hear of them again, but hopefully we've aided them in a part of their career alongside Hull musicians to forge a path for themselves.
And so how does like someone join or sort of partake in the Humber Sesh? They email you, or what's the process?
Yeah, so you can email me at dan@sesheventsuk.co.uk, and even if that's just if you wanted to do sound, or you wanted to learn how to run a lighting rig, if you wanted to understand how to do stage management, it doesn't have to be about being a musician. You can just be involved. Come down to the Sesh night. I saw someone at Trinity Live last week, which is another event we do at Trinity Market, which is free on a Thursday. Someone came up and said, do you need a stage manager? And Mark was like, yes, you're in. And sometimes it can be that easy. Yeah. And that's really exciting because hopefully they're part of a team with us now where we'll be really stressed, and he's like a really calm person, this person we were talking to. So hopefully he'll be involved and he'll take the pressure off that area. So yeah, that's your best way, is just come down to a Sesh night, come down to Trinity Live on a Thursday, and you could or email me. And if there's any area of, if you wanted to live stream a stage, if you want, we're just open to any idea really.
Yeah.
But as a musician, there's an application process you can go through, and that's closed now.
Okay.
We do an application process which usually closes around December, and you can apply for the festival. It doesn't matter where you're from. You can do that. If you're from Bristol, we want to listen to as much as we can. But again, participation is absolutely key. Like I keep hammering it. Just coming and showing your face and performing one of the nights gives us a really good framework to understand where that could go on the festival stage.
This week, I was looking through my albums, and I came across Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers by Kendrick Lamar. This album cuts really deep. He talks about things that men don't really talk about. I mean, Father Time, for example? Man, it's like, as black men, we're taught to be tough, not emotional. When Kendrick, referring to his dad, said, "Trust no one, only your mama," and I felt that. I saw my dad go through things that made him put up walls and not heal. And then Purple Hearts, soft, chaotic, romantic. It's like a late night conversation after a long fight. And then Mr. Morale, now that's grown man music. It's truth, accountability, and trust. This album, it feels like a mirror into my own soul. It's uncomfortable, but necessary. So my dad, in his second marriage, they were a thing for a bit, and then when they got divorced, she took the house. The house that he bought, he worked hard for, and I never seen a man so low in his life before. Like in that brief moment, he's good now, but in that moment, the male loneliness epidemic is a real thing. But it is complicated though. It's something that can definitely be overcome easily. Just talk to someone, please. But at the same time, because of the society that we live in, I'm not gonna lie to you, it's hard. I mean, I was actually talking to a girl about this the other day. I was jokingly telling her that, in New York, especially in the South Bronx, you don't express your feelings. If you tell a girl you love her in the South Bronx, she's gonna tell you sound like pussy. So, you're coming from that type of world, obviously, being a little bit vulnerable is healthy. You burn bridges by being so recluse and uptight, so it is good to sort of allow yourself to feel, and connect with people. Talk to your bros, talk to your family, just go out there and socialize with someone, all right? Obviously find someone that you trust, but talk to someone, find someone, even if it's one person, it don't have to be multiple. Talk, please, you're killing yourself.
And Polar Bear and even the Sesh sort of evolved from, the decade. Where do you see it going in the future? What's your vision?
Oh God. Well, Polar Bear, it'd be great if it was when we brought Polar Bear back. So I've worked there for 10 years. So the first manager I had was Uncle Dave Courtney, and he was amazing. I learned so much from him. He's just an absolute legend. And that process of working with him, and then we got bought out by a national company, and that was absolutely mental, and just a crazy environment. And it went from a pub to a music venue, and then we closed. So in COVID, the company went bust, and then 6 of us crowdfunded to bring Polar Bear back. And the premise was that it was going to be Tuesdays and Saturdays, so it would just be a club basically, and that everyone would volunteer the time, do a little bit of part-time. And for a year and a half, that was the dream. It was primo. It was working really well. And then it just got more difficult. Everything got more difficult. There's more venues, there's more live music, because people need live music to try and sustain their businesses as well. So the USP of our nights was watered down, made it much more difficult, and it actually became a process of us, on volunteer and part-time wages, we need to get more events into this venue. So when you ask me what the future would be, it would be to have 4 or 5 nights a week with Polar Bear.
Nice.
it being open as a space that people can use throughout the day. So we're currently working with Heritage, with Council, because it's a Grade 2 listed building. So the idea of having businesses upstairs that can use it, a coffee machine, opening if you go to certain venues across the country, you turn left to get into the gig, but right you can go and have a pint and go into the beer garden. I know you were both with us last night, so you can see it, that side
I had
door.
the pizza too.
Oh, the pizza. Yeah, so I have pizza all the time. That's the dream. And then that's the dream we've been holding on to for 3 years, and it's not anywhere close. So we're just holding on as a team. And I'm so proud of us because it's so difficult, but we've managed to keep it going. So that's the dream from a Polar Bear perspective. And then from a band perspective, to still be in a band and go play the venues that really matter. So we've played like George Tavern recently.
Your band, just to be clear.
This is my band. Sorry, so playing George Tavern was amazing. It's like this place that's just like Polar Bear, but in the centre of London, that is constantly under threat of being closed due to the area surrounding it. So their merch has just saved the George, which I think is amazing. We get to play that, so I want to play more places like that. That's literally the only thing I need to take off the list now as a musician, is to keep going and playing those important spaces. And then Humber Street Sesh, the last one is just, can we build something that eventually moves into the city centre? That isn't just based on that area, but becomes something that you can have. You know, if you're an acoustic performer, you play some of the pubs in the city, while also we have a big stage at somewhere like Queen's Garden. You know, that would be amazing to fulfil that sort of mission statement, because we are where we are now is 18,000 capacity, and we can't. That's down to, you know, we used to be a bigger festival, but that's a whole different. You know, that was a different time pre-COVID. So it's like, can we get back to that level again as a team? And that'd be. Yeah, that'd be another dream come true for all of us, I think.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. So, as a creative and as a musician, how important it is for merch, and can you tell us about your merch? Skint Northerner.
God, you're good. So I still do these Skint Northerner t-shirts. So I did them in lockdown, and that was in order to survive. So when the company went bust, I had enough money to get through a little bit, and we actually did some live Sesh broadcasts. We did about 12 of them, and then things started to open up a little bit, but not enough. I was like, what am I going to do? So I had literally my Instagram tag was Skint Northerner. I was like, I'll just make some t-shirts that says Skint Northerner. That's all I can do. That's all I've got left. And then I did that, and it managed to see me through. So I'm so grateful to skintnortherner.com. I want to say skintnortherner.com. I think that's...
So that's where you,
Is it? I don't know.
Yeah, we got you.
But you can still just... Oh, go on, sorry.
Yeah, he does.
I'm working every day, and like I keep running into Yorkshire lads. They're like, "Oh yeah, I love that." And then sometimes I'm lucky enough to like walk in front of like proper Northerners, and they're looking like, "You're not Northerner."
See, it creates debate, the old Skint Northerner t-shirt.
I'm loving it, and a lot of people ask me where they can get it. So
I'm gonna say phantom.com. So that's my band, and on there is a Skint Northerner tee. I did have skintnortherner.com. God knows what's happened to that. The thing with that is, I ended up using Skint Northerner t-shirts to bankroll the old band. And then once you do that, then there's no more budget to buy more Skint Northerner t-shirts. So I think there's maybe like 10 left at Polar Bear. So if you come down to Polar Bear, I can sell you a t-shirt, but I need to get more stock. By the time this comes out, I won't have got any more. That's not happening.
I mean, so merch is important to building your brand.
Yeah, 100%, isn't it? Yeah. We were literally at Flower and Feast, which is like a cafe space just down the road, and I was like glaring at the merch and thinking, that's like this. All of that looks so good, and the Marlers. It's like vital to creating a brand, I think, and it gives those places an identity. And whenever I see a Marlers tote bag or whatever, I'm like, you know, it's almost reminiscent of how good the sausage rolls are. It's that important. And from a band perspective as well, if you can build that sort of cult, and that's what you're trying to do, is you're trying to build a cult of people that feel like you and listen to the lyrics and understand how you feel about things.
Yeah.
And then also, I think that what, it's what you're doing is worth putting on a shirt and for them to wear.
Yeah.
And there's no better feeling than walking down the street and seeing like some of your own mates. There's that aspect as well.
Right.
That's really good. It feels, it just feels really good, doesn't it? So,
Yeah, you're doing something right. That's what it means. Talk to us about football, Dan.
Football, right? How long have you got? Got another hour? What's really good about music, and there was a small window where music and football linked in so well for me. So I actually worked putting music on at Hull City, which is a dream come true. So I'm a Hull City fan. Been going since 97.
Okay.
So my dad, basically for my birthday, was like, "Here's a season pass to Hull City." And he tricked me because the first time I ever went, the first home game, we won 7-4. So I was like, this is going to be amazing all of the time. That's not true. It's not worked out that way. And then, so I go every season since I think 2001, I've had a season pass.
Yeah.
And then in 2004, he was like, do you want to go to every away game? And I said, yes, please. So the first game we won 5-1 at Northampton away.
Yeah.
Thought it was always going to be that way. It's not like that. It's rubbish most weeks. But yeah, so I've been going with my dad, who you've met.
Yeah, lovely guy.
And we go every single week. We've been to Beijing together to watch Hull City. And I absolutely love it. It's just like one of the don't let the football ruin a good day out of the football. So it's a matter of like, we have really good food. I'll take him somewhere nice. We'll like talk about how good the heady days of Hull City doing well, and then we'll go watch them lose 3-0. Get back in the car and come home. But I wouldn't trade it for anything. Having that time with your dad's precious, and I love him to bits. And it's, sometimes it's funny how bad it gets at Hull City just because I've still got my dad with me to watch the game with him. Even recently, I heard him say, "I'm bored," and I've never heard him say that.
Wow.
That's how bad it's got sometimes.
Wow.
Being like, "I'm bored, Dan." I'm like, "What do you mean? This is our lives." But yeah, no, it's great. So thank you for asking me about it. I could go on about it for months, but it's not worth your time.
No, come on, man. Pops is precious.
Yeah, it's great, and like football's got the thing that I love about football, and what I keep explaining, and there's Music Venue Trust, which looks after venues. It's a charity organisation. Within grassroots football, if you go to Wembley and watch England, there's basically an explanation that the ticket price to go watch England filters down to grassroots football, and it's absolutely insane that music doesn't have that process. For whatever reason, all grassroots music are fighting to survive with business rates and not seen as spaces that are provided for the community. And that's what grassroots football is. It's community. So why not put that same method from the Premier League down to, in theory, meant to look after North Ferriby, which is a great cultural asset near us. Why can't that be music? And Music Venue Trust do a great job, but I'm reminded of that going to watch Hull City every week. There's a trickle-down economy that needs to exist in music. So hopefully football and music can combine again in that aspect. That'd be great. And if Hull City want me back, you just ring me anytime. And I'll be putting out on for you. Because I love working.
Get that into the camera.
If you need me, I'll say, not just as a 34-year-old right back. If you want me to put some music on, you just let me know. It's usually Tasha that messages me. Tasha, give us a message. Let's get the whole City Sesh back on the.
Tasha, please give us a message.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you, man. It's an honor, truly. Thank you.
Yeah, it's beautiful being with you lot. So thank you. So humberstreetsesh.co.uk. So that's for the festival. Polar Bear Music Club .co.uk. And that's for venue on the Springbank, 229 Springbank. And then ophantom.com, which is Rose, who's built that website.
Thanks,
God
Rose.
For Rose. Thank God for Rose. I ain't building a website in a time.
mean, I was tired, ready to go home. One of my last customers, though, he comes in, you know, he's asking, he's like, hey, you know, I got a phone to collect for my wife. I'm like, all right, sure, where's your ID? He shows me his ID. And one of the things I realized is his last name, Mawer. And I'm thinking to myself, surely not. I mean, the world is small, but not that small. I probe, ask a few questions. I say, yeah, so what's your plans for the rest of the day? Are you from Leeds? And he's like, no, it's just my wife's birthday, and we're from Hull. And I said, do you know a Dan? He said, Daniel. I'm like, yeah. He said, that's my son. I was like, no way. Amazing. What are the chances? And I was so excited. I even told him, I said, you know, I'm interviewing your son the next week. Like, he's going to be on my show, like, because he does the amazing polar bear. And it's just like, it was such a small world, but something to reflect on, you know. Dan is a friendly soul who's always willing to help a musician, you know. So any musicians out there, especially if you're from Yorkshire and Hull specifically, I definitely would give him a shout out. Next episode, we have a very special guest, Kofi Smiles, the charmer on BBC Humberside Radio. So stay tuned, because you guys are in for a treat.